let's talk about it. Just broke, I think, right after the last card. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, and concerning Megan Anderson. Looks like she's been cut from the UFC.
Bang, coming for the top, got the game in the lock. Every time that I drop, know I gotta go bang. I'ma keep it hot, know that I can never stop. Keeping everything I got, I'ma make it go bang.
She actually came out on her Twitch stream and said, because I think the waters were a little murky and we weren't sure actually if she was either cut or if they were renewing her contract and they were just in talks, but she confirmed it. It looks like they're parting ways, which, kind of sucks, but I think it has to happen at this point.
I don't.
You don't think so? Really? Okay.
Well, you just fought for the title. Like, you fought for the title, and you knew that she was going to lose as bad as she did. Mm-hmm. You knew that. Mm-hmm. We called that. It was going to be an easy fight. Everybody knew that Megan Anderson got fed to the wolves because there's no one else in the division. You can't put someone up for a title shot against arguably not even arguably, it's a fact right now. Literally one of the top 2 greatest female mixed martial artists. Mixed martial artists, male, female, doesn't matter, on the planet. You lose, as was written in the books of history and in the future. Everyone knew was going to happen, and then you part ways with her. Like, for me, that's the biggest fucking setup, and that's not fair. It's just not.
Well, I mean, who else at 145 is Nunes really going to defend her title against, right? And now you come into this big discussion of what do they do with the featherweight division? Are they going to keep it? Are they going to get rid of it? Dana White, in the post-fight press conference, said, we're going to keep the division as long as Amanda wants to defend the belt. And really, who else is she going to defend it against right now? But let's stay on Megan Anderson for a little bit. Where do you think she goes from here?
Well, I mean, any organization is going to pick her up. To be honest, actually, the perfect storyboard, and I'll get to that in 1 second, but to kind of counter what you were saying, yeah, it makes sense for them to cut the 145 division. But the biggest thing I want to know is, was there even a conversation for Megan Anderson to drop down to 135, or did they just say, peace the fuck out?
You know what? She spoke a lot about this during her training camp, that 135 is very, very difficult for her to make. She's a very big girl for the women, women's MMA in general. And I think 145 is comfortable to make, and I don't think she's willing to do what Cyborg used to do and kill herself to get down to 135. But I think you're right. I think there's a lot of other organizations out there that are willing, like maybe Bellator, that are willing to pick up Megan Anderson, because I think she still has a lot of fight left in her.
Well, she's going straight. She's going straight to Bellator. I'll tell you that. That's my bet, because I think the perfect scenario for her was when she first came to the UFC. There was a lot of talk of her wanting to fight Cyborg. The fight obviously never came to fruition because only until recently, and because of default, did Megan Anderson even get the center stage. But there was a lot of talk of her coming over and be like, oh yeah, I'm the one to dethrone Chris Cyborg. So I think that might create for a good storyboard, because now it's kind of the 145 division, in Bellator, is getting kind of stale as well. So to bring Megan Anderson over would kind of mix it up a little bit, because there is a lot more fighters at 145 over there than there is UFC. That's just a fact in the women division. So I think that might make the most sense for her right now, because they're not going anywhere with the 145 division, and there might be some easier fighters in Bellator that she could win. Because for me, as much as I love Bellator, in the UFC, when we look at it, there's A fighters, there's B fighters, and there's a few C fighters. But for me, the way Bellator is developed, I think there's a bunch of C fighters and a bunch of A fighters. There's no in between.
Yeah,
that's how I see it, especially in the women's 145.
Well, I think, just Bellator in general, you see that because of so much talent leaving the UFC, because, they pay so well. They pay their fighters so well. A lot better than the UFC sometimes, right? And we see that with Anthony Rumble Johnson. We see that with Yoel Romero. But let's get back to Megan Anderson and Amanda, and why that fight looks so one-sided. Obviously, we know Amanda's a beast. But what did Megan do wrong Why are we in this? Why are we having this discussion to begin with? Why did, after a 7-month training camp, does she look that way with a loss in the first round?
It was just, honestly, I just think it was never in the cards for anyways. The way Megan Anderson fights, she's not light on her feet. She's not a light fighter on her feet. She doesn't have good, I don't want to say good techniques. She has great techniques. They're sharp, very straight like an arrow, but she's not really agile. She doesn't cut her angles really well. She's just a straightforward, using her reach kind of girl, and that's not going to work against someone that's a brute like Amanda Nunes, who is also an amazing boxer, an amazing wrestler, and as we saw, amazing at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And she cut angles so well, and she hits like a truck. I think, though, Megan Anderson, it was very simple. I think she obviously came in with a lot of pressure, with 99.9% of the world knowing that she was going to lose. And I believe that she was even defeated, even while they were calling her name, while Bruce Buffer was announcing her name. It was already over.
Just mentally, yeah. You can kind of see that, right?
Yeah, like it just didn't look well. Like her last couple wins have been okay, but she's really, like, I do like the girl, and I think she has potential, but she has really, as good of a fighter as she is, great is not moments that she's really left us with. Like, you know what I mean? So, not to disrespect her,
well, she ends her career in the UFC 3-3, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at a 50% batting average, you know, or 500 batting average, it's not the greatest record you've ever seen leaving the UFC. So I guess it does make sense, especially with the featherweight division kind of holding in the balance right now. So yeah, it's tough. It's tough because this could have ultimately set her up, if she did win, right, to have a long career with the organization. So it's kind of sad, especially with her having trained for so long for this fight too. So
sometimes you can train. Sometimes I believe you can train for too long though. Like sometimes you just got to rip the Band-Aid and go in there and just fight. If you have too long of a training camp, if things keep getting delayed, it just allows for more time for you to get in your own head. And for you to maybe get anxiety, maybe it's overexcitement, whatever the case may be. But I think it's going to weigh on you a lot. And then when you do stand into that center stage, like you said, she hasn't really had all that many fights in the UFC, at least in comparison to Amanda Nunes. So I feel like she would have a lot more nerves going into it as well. You said she has a 500 batting average in the UFC. You're right, but I think it's even less than that because she only won against Kat Zingano because of like a...
Which was the eye poke or the toe poke, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah, deadly technique.
Which is kind of like... It's a misnomer, so
that type of shit you only find in Ip Man, or like Ong Bak and shit.
Well, I think that was her game plan coming into it. She was going to use her toes more than usual, right?
You know what though? I think that's her biggest downfall. I think if she went into the game plan with Amanda Nunes planning to like get her toenail into like Amanda's retina, I think it would have been a lot more beneficial for her. I think she would have killed it.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yep.
So. Anything else to talk about?
That one.
Where do you think?
Yeah.
Where do you think Amanda goes from here? Does she go? Obviously, she has to go back and defend her bantamweight title. Who do you think she faces down there?
I don't even. I mean, I think the only thing logical for her to do is to fight Valentina Shevchenko. But I think what she actually is going to do, because the 125 women's division is making some noise right now. We know we got Weili Zhang going off against Rose Namajunas. Jessica Andrade's fighting Valentina Shevchenko. Joanna Jędrzejczyk is still there. Those are strong fighters at 125. In my opinion, 135 and 145 are just like abysmal in comparison. Now they lost everybody. We have Holly Holm fighting Julianna Pena, which is probably for a title eliminator. And if Holly Holm wins, in my opinion, when she wins, like we're gonna see Holly Holm fight for a title like again. It's too many. It's too many times.
Can we talk about this Julianna Pena stuff? Because she has gone out and critically bashed Amanda for dodging her and for not wanting to take the fight. Do you think Amanda is scared and doesn't want that fight? For whatever reason.
So the only reason why I only want to talk about this fight because we only have like 6,200 subscribers on our channel. Because if we had more, I wouldn't even want to give her the time of day of giving her the clout because it's complete disrespect.
By the way, Jesse, shout out to those 6,200 subscribers though. Thanks for keeping with us.
No, it's true. We love y'all at home, but let's make it like, I don't know, let's 62 mil, next level. What's up? But no, like I don't even want to give her the time of day because she's been nothing but disrespectful. You've been a very inactive fighter. You come back, you're talking all this shit because you know that is the only way anybody will look your way because you've done nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
And if you beat,
and it's not like, and it's not like she's on this massive win streak.
No.
She literally got subbed by Jermaine Durandamy, who is not even known for her submission, her grappling. And then you come back, you win your next fight in great fashion. But come on now. Like, you have to be humble to a certain degree, but I think she's going more of your favorite guy, the Conor McGregor route here. And just let's see what we can do with our words and our mouth rather than what we're doing in the cage. So
and the only difference is Conor's actually like great, like Julianna is not, right? That's the biggest difference. Not to disrespect her, but like you're such an inactive fighter. But the thing is, who knows what's going on behind the scene? Maybe Dana White's like, you know what? We need to paint a storyboard for this. We need to give some action. So let's create a fictitious beef that isn't really there, manifest it into something that could be real, and create an exciting fight, and hopefully a nice little pay-per-view. But the thing is, I don't think it's going to work. Like we were saying, Julianna Pena has not done anything that's spectacular, that's shocked people and people remember her by, because I don't. I've seen all her fights and there's nothing really that stands out for me. You know, she has great ground game, but when you think you have great ground game until you lose to Jermaine Durandamy, who literally, probably can't even put a body lock on her pillow. Like, I don't...
Well, and Pena also talked about the Kat Zingano fight and how she absolutely beat up Amanda several years ago. We're not looking at the same Amanda Nunes anymore. This is someone who is absolutely evolved into a different animal. And you know what? I think Pena's doing something right if we're talking about her, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it is. But then honestly, it's just, that's fine. You might eventually get the title shot, but you have to pass Holly Holm first. And I there's no way. That's
a tough fight as well.
There's just no way you're beating her from Greg Jackson's camp. Like, she trains with literally all the best of the best, and like, good luck. I don't. It doesn't make sense for me, that fight, but
that fight's been pushed as well. I think they haven't rescheduled to a certain date. I think Holly Holm's dealing with some stuff, so we'll see what happens there, and then maybe we get the Amanda fight in the future. So
she's probably She's probably dealing with the fact that like she's trying to get excited for this fight and she can't. Well, and she's like, okay, when I beat this girl, I'm going for my 97th friggin' title shot in 98 fights, and I'm just gonna lose again. So it's a little unfortunate, but I mean, I don't know. It makes no sense, but I mean, the divisions 135 and 145, the female, like I said in the UFC, they're kind of disappearing anyways. All that's left is Amanda there, right? It's just no one there. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Anything else to say on this one, buddy?
And I think that wraps it up.
Yeah? You want to say something to the fans at home before I close this up?
Comment below where you guys think Megan Anderson is going to go and what Amanda Nunes is going to do next in the division.
Andrew's camera just fucking died down because he's an idiot and he forgot to charge it properly. All good. We're closing it up anyway. We really appreciate you guys. I'm going to sit in the middle now because now I don't have to care about him being in the top corner of my screen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Let us know, as Andrew said before he got cut out there because he was too cheap to charge his battery. Let us know where you think exactly Megan Anderson is going to end up. I personally think it's going to be Bellator. I think that's the only logical explanation where to put her. It's still a really big organization, and there's still big fights there that she could really get involved with, and being an ex-UFC title challenger, that makes perfect sense and could make some waves in the Bellator community. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We love y'all, and we're going to see you next time. Actually, probably on Sunday for the post-UFC Fight Night 187 breakdown. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Bang, coming for the top, got the game in the lock. Every time that I drop, know I gotta go bang. I'ma keep it hot, know that I can never stop. Keeping everything I got, I'ma make it go bang. Better than the best, I'ma tell it with my chest. I don't got no time to rest, now they know what I'm saying. Everybody know I'm coming next, I'ma leave it in a mess. If they wanna test, I'ma make it bang. Step into the mind of a young man with the plan.